Look at this beautiful bowl of citrus. Isn't it tempting? Don't you just want to eat it? Well, all week long, I'm gonna be making citrus recipes using lemons, limes, oranges, and grapefruits to exhaustion. Today, it's gonna be a pork in a tangy citrus sauce made with limes and oranges, and it's gonna be really delicious. Just you wait and see. The first thing that you need to do is flour some pork chops. I have 4 boneless pork chops. These are loin chops. I have like 3 tablespoons of flour. I'm not gonna need it all. Turn it to coat and shake off the excess. The flour is going to thicken the sauce and also help with the browning process. So you want it there, but you don't want big clumps of it because it's not about eating flour, right? It's about eating pork in delicious savory sauce. Season it with salt and pepper. I am noticing that the salt is not sticking quite that well. I probably should have seasoned it before I put my flour on. So when you make this at home, because I know you're going to, season it with salt and pepper and then dredge it with flour. I have a skillet on medium. I'm turning it up to medium high. Add a tablespoon of oil. See, when it's a nice hot pan, the oil will coat the pan really, really evenly. Shake off the excess flour and then into the pan to brown. While these are browning for about 2 minutes per side, you can always be prepping ADP and get your onion and garlic ready. I have 1 really large red onion. I don't really like really big honkin' slices of onion. I know some people do, but I just find it not so nice to eat. So I like to slice them very thinly. Oh, it looks like it's time. I'm gonna turn my pork chops. Yeah, that looks about right. I mean, I guess they're not really chops. Are they chops if they don't have a bone? I don't know. Sort of like cutlets. Now to the garlic. I'm just gonna go ahead and use 3 cloves of garlic because those are small, and also I really love the garlic flavor here. I feel like it's one of the main flavoring components. This is kind of like, it's inspired by a mojo sauce. Cuban food, it's one of my faves. Pour this on pretty much anything and it will be delicious. And we're bulking it up with lots of succulent onions. Onions and orange, great. Orange and pork, great. Can't go wrong. All right. Time to take the pork out. Feel them? Are they done? Yes, they are. They're gonna cook a little bit more in the sauce, so don't worry if you feel like they're just slightly underdone. No big deal. Put them on a plate to set aside. 1 more tablespoon of oil. Now quickly, before your pan starts burning, add your onions and your garlic. I just like to add the onions first. In case the pan's really hot, you add the garlic first, it might burn a little bit. And then you can just add the garlic too. With the onions, but not before the onions. Stir it up, and then they need to be translucent. And if you're quick, you can get your oranges and your limes ready. You need a tablespoon of orange zest. It could be 1 orange, it could be more than 1 orange, so you might want to get 2 oranges just to be safe. My onions are just starting to get a little darker than I like, so I'm going to move them off the stove, just so they don't burn. It's all about timing. And then a cup of orange juice. This one's a blood orange. That's okay. I don't mind. I had a mixture of oranges in my bowl, and I'm perfectly happy to use a blood orange here. Let's have a conversation right now about juice. I implore you not to use the bottled juice for this, just because the flavor changes slightly and it's just not gonna be as delicious. And squeezing the juice isn't that bad. A 1/4 cup of lime juice. I'm gonna start with 3 limes. We'll see where that gets me. This squeezing thing is the most efficient way to get the most out of limes, which are actually kind of hard to squeeze juice out of. And as you can see, this is working really, really well. You could just add your zest right in here. The onions can go back on the stove and continue cooking. I felt like they needed a little more attention than I was giving them before. You want them softened, but you don't want them burnt. I'm not gonna lie, I think my garlic burned just a teeny bit. When that happens, what I do is I just go in with my tongs and I just get rid of it. I mean, hopefully this won't happen to you, but if it does, this is what I suggest doing. Just scrape it up and get rid of it. Everything is ready. Pan is cleaned. Orange juice and zest and lime juice into the pan. Bring it to a boil and then let it cook just to reduce and thicken slightly, maybe 2 to 3 minutes. I'm tasting this. I feel like you gotta taste it because sometimes your juices are more sour or sweeter. This is actually really sour, so I'm gonna put in just a tiny bit of sugar. This is how you can balance that out. For some reason, I feel like maybe it was a little bit too much. Also, maybe it's those blood oranges, not as sweet as navels. Now that it's reduced, add your pork chops back in, plus any juices that are on the plate, and you're done. What do you think about that? Gorgeous, so beautiful. You can turn to coat the pork chops in sauce, and we're ready to serve. Just let it boil just a tiny bit. because the flour that's on the outside of the pork chop still is gonna thicken the sauce just a tiny bit more and give it great texture. I don't know if you can see, it's changed just slightly to the texture of sauce as opposed to the texture of juice, and that's what I'm looking for. First in a series of fantastic citrus dishes, done. It's a tangy, sweet, delicious, oniony, orangey delight. Serve this up over some boiled potatoes or cooked white rice and enjoy the first of many delicious citrus dishes this week.